Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the August edition of our monthly community engagement spotlight series. We are glad to be back for our fourth season of this monthly series. My name is Jessica Desardin. I am a program coordinator in the Office of Community Engagement at MCW. Please note that this session is being recorded, and please be sure you are muted throughout the presentation. I'd like to begin with a statement from the Office of Community Engagement. We wish to acknowledge the Indigenous people who are past and present stewards of the land on which we pursue our just cause of a healthy community for everyone. We encourage everyone to use the chat bar to share comments or questions for our guests at any time. This monthly series features community partners and the important work they are doing. We highlight their goals, motivations, and accomplishments, and the ways they have partnered with people and programs at MCW. Today, we are honored to have Jessica Currie with Missionary Currie for Women and Children joining us as our featured guest. Today, we are also grateful to have Dr. David Nelson serving as our facilitator. At this time, I would like to introduce our Senior Associate Dean for Community Engagement, Dr. Stacy Young, who will say a few words about Missionary Currie's important work for the community. Dr. Young?
Thank you so much, Jessica, and welcome everyone to our fourth season for the Community Engagement Spotlight Series. So glad to have you with us. And I, like perhaps others, was really enjoying the song choice. So thank you, Jessica, for that wonderful selection. I'm pleased to introduce you to Jessica Currie. Ms. Currie is the CEO of Mission Currie, a nonprofit organization which helps parents experiencing hardship through community support and resources. In addition to free supportive services to moms, Mission Currie also offers necessary tools to overcome the causes of homelessness. They offer classes on parenting, life skills, anger management, proper nutrition and food preparation, conflict resolution, financial literacy, and spiritual development. Thank you, Jessica, for being our featured guest today. I would now like to welcome today's facilitator and a wonderful, outstanding, community engaged colleague and scholar, Dr. David Nelson, who's a professor in the Department of Family and Community Medicine at the Medical College of Wisconsin. Dr. Nelson, thank you for serving as our spotlight facilitator today, and I now turn it over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Young, and welcome Jessica Currie of Mission Currie. Jessica, I want to start with saying, if I haven't told you in the last few minutes how wonderful you are, you're pretty amazing, and welcome to the Spotlight Series and kicking off our season for the year.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being here with me and sharing this spotlight with me.
Right on. I got to say this, all right? And I didn't see the pictures in advance, but you never told me, one, that you drive a forklift, two, that you drive a lift truck, three, that you were in the back of a semi. And it's like, dang, girl, what else do you do, right? And so it's like forklift. I want to come play. That's right on. But no, I love those pictures, and I love the photos, and the song was wonderful. But you know what? Something that I do, and I'm going to start it off this way. You asked if we're going to go off the questions, and we'll get to the questions perhaps, but we're going to riff a little bit because you and I have known each other for a while. I practice gratitude. I've been doing it for 2 years, and I start every morning with some silence, some solitude, and something that I'm grateful for today. And today is, believe it or not, today is the 234th day of the year. And if you didn't know that, in numerology, means harmony, abundance, joy, and limitless energy. And today I'm grateful for all the people that make these things happen. So I'm grateful for you joining us, but I'm also grateful for Jessica and Jai and Stacy and the rest of the team that all makes this work. So that's what I'm grateful for today, Jessica. What are you grateful for today?
I'm grateful for grace. I've been through so much in my life, and I know it's nothing but the grace of God that I'm still here. So that's what I'm, grateful for. And then also just having partnerships and relationships with people who see the vision and support the mission. That's what I'm grateful for.
Right on.
My family. Let me not forget my family. My family, my husband, my children, and all of you.
Yeah, we know that family and community comes in all shapes and sizes, and sometimes it's by blood relations, and sometimes it's by family of choice. And I consider you like family to me, and so that's what I'm just grateful for. And for the audience, Jessica and I have known each other for probably 3 or 4 years now.
Mhm.
And there was something, I'm going to brag a little bit about her. There was something special when I first met her, and we worked on a project together around blood pressure.
Yes.
In addition to all the things that Jessica does, she also is a community health worker, and community health workers are amazing individuals that help come alongside and sometimes stand out in front, sometimes are standing behind people. But Jessica was coaching people through blood pressure checks, and lifestyle change. And so when she was, and this was during the pandemic, so this was a challenge for us. But I am I was just amazed at her fearlessness and her ability to lean into the issue. So we've gotten to know each other over the years, and I've gotten to know a little bit about her. So now we're going to share a little bit with everybody else. Jessica, tell us a little bit about who you are. Yeah, let's start with that.
Okay. Well, I am Jessica Currie, founder and executive director of Missionary Currie for Women and Children. I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a community leader, and yeah, that's who I am in a nutshell. Because I can keep going and going and going, but
Well, you got that limitless energy, and that's what this is about. When I saw that today, tell us a little bit about your family.
so my family, so my husband, he's also an entrepreneur, and actually my story actually starts with my husband telling me once I was on the forklift. It's funny. Let me go back to the forklift. So I've learned the forklift from my warehouse job. So God was preparing me for where I am today. So I started making engine parts at Tesla, and the whole plant shut down. And my husband told me, he said, either go back to school or start a business. So when he said that, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do both. I'm gonna do both. So I did both. I went to UW Parkside for nonprofit management, and I started Missionary Currie for Women and Children. So that's my family. That's my husband portion of how he incorporated into the story. He's an amazing man. Shout out to him.
Right on.
And then my children, my oldest son, who I had as a teen mom, he's at Marquette High School. This is his sophomore year. And the other children, they are, pretty small, and they are soaring. Like one is in Taekwondo, one is in gymnastics, and the other ones are all in basketball, and they are thriving. And I'm grateful to have them alongside of me as partners as well. So they are engaged in the community in regards to the food pantry, the community baby showers, and as a whole, we are a giving family.
Right on. And I'm going to go here now because you and I find this is very important to both of us. But you mentioned grace and you mentioned God. Tell us about your faith belief and how that it supports your world and your work.
Yeah. So my grandmother who raised me, my mom, she abandoned me. Her and my father both abandoned me, and my grandmother was left to raise me and my 5 other siblings. And she raised us in church because listen, raising kids, it's not even yours. That's grace within itself. All right. So she raised us, and she raised us in church. And I remember my connection with God was actually from me being a homeless teen mom. I remember being suicidal, sleeping in my car, and one day I just was like crying, like, God, please just take my life. I do not want to be here. I believe that someone else could take care of my 2 children. I had 2 children by the age of 19. So I had a child by 16 and again at like 17, 18-ish and whatnot. And I just was like, you know what? I lived too fast. I was wrong for all the things that I've done. I was basically like repenting, but yet and still I was just determined to just get out of here because I felt like that was just more at peace with me in my circumstance and my situation. So my situation did not get better overnight. But that was the last time I cried. I was homeless, but that was the last time I cried. I was maybe homeless for a month after that, but I didn't cry no more. But I was determined, and I had a spirit in me of strength to where I was able to look for employment, look for housing, and I was able to secure that. So by the grace of God, I was able to have this relationship to, you know, a connection personally where I wanted to give up. He didn't allow me to give up. I didn't have no strength. He gave me his strength. So that's how I'm like, you know what? I don't have nobody else but you. So we locked in for life.
Yes, you are. And what an amazing testament to your faith walk and to your. I have a little card in my truck. It's kind of ironic because it says I surrender control, not of my truck, but the idea of I surrender control of my life in that space. Um, what was that time like for you when you were on the edge of giving up?
So I never told no one, like I never told a lot of people that I was homeless. A lot of people just assumed that, you know, because I still had the same energy. I was always happy for other people. I was always a cool vibe to be around and things of that nature. But I had garbage bags of clothes in my back seat. So I lost my job, then I lost my house. Then the last thing that left was on the last leg was the car and whatnot. So during that experience, I felt hopeless. Like no one came in and rescued me. No one said like, "Oh, you can come stay with me" or anything like that. Like the family that did know and whatnot. So I actually like the programs that I have for my organization is the giving people opportunities that I didn't have. So I remember reaching out to, I won't say names or anything like that, but I remember reaching out to certain organizations and I did not get help with housing. I did not get help with absolutely anything. And it's beautiful to see one of my old caseworkers. She's actually on this live. Thank you for being here, Stephanie. Shout out to Stephanie. But I had amazing people, as in Stephanie and them. They made me create a goals list. And I have never made a list of goals, or no one ever cared about me that much to even tell me to make a list of goals that I wanted to accomplish. So while I was still homeless, I had a case manager, obviously, because I was on W-2, and I made this goals list. And when I tell you, there's power in the tongue, and manifestation is really real. So I made a goal list of maybe 10. I said I wanted to be an author. I said I want to, you know, get stable. I wanted employment. I want to get my driver's license, and I want to get my high school diploma. I literally got my high school diploma, secured a job, and my driver's license all in like 30 days. So when you determine and when you on your last leg, like legit, you could just press your way through. Press your way through.
You know, I thought you were going to say you did it in about 3 days, which that wouldn't have surprised me either. But 30 days is okay. Hey, I'm going to give a shout out to Miss Patterson. Miss Patterson, thank you for taking an interest in Jessica. You are a gem, and we see you, Miss Patterson. Thank you for the tireless work that you do in this, in with her and with others in the space. So thank you. You know, knowing some of that, and I learned a couple new things there. It seems to me that there's always been this spark in you, right? That sometimes you know, we have the bright flame and the burning bush, if you will, and sometimes it gets down to a little ember, but it never goes out. And I can imagine in those darkest times that when you thought about giving up, it's like, how do you grow that ember into something more distinct? What would you say to somebody who might be on this call that might be, you know, what advice would you give them to say, don't give up?
I would say your situation is not your final destination. A lot of us go through things and we ask for breakthroughs, we ask for blessings, but we don't want to endure storms. But this is the beautiful thing about rain. In order for us to see brighter days, it have to rain in order for us to grow. So our growth comes from rain. It comes from storms. So you may be in a bad situation right now, but you're going to overcome it, and you're going to be able to sit back one day and help somebody else to overcome it too.
Amen. Hey, would somebody from the team put that up, please? Situation does not define your final destination. I love that saying. I'm going to borrow that one, Jessica. I'm going to tribute to you, but it is wonderful. So let's, you know, you talked a little bit about, you know, needing to get your license and needing to get a job and needing to work on your education. How did that translate? And I think the idea of the people around us can support us to say, your husband said, hey, you got to go do this because, you know, you got something special in you. How did that translate to the work you are currently engaged with through the missions?
Yeah, so I would never forget us growing up in poverty, growing up not having it, and just struggling and just finding resources even back then. Like I'm still young, but I still call it back then.
Yeah.
But back then, and my grandmother seeking resources for food and toys and things of that nature. So I really created and developed things centered around the things that we dealt with when we dealt with poverty. So the Cookies with Santa event, for instance, I remember we used to have to go all the way out to St. Ben, like Wisconsin, in order for us to have a Christmas party. Now people that live in the inner city can come to the inner city in order for them to get those type of services and resources. So just that right there is enough. Like you don't have to go outsource. You can have it right here.
How did you, let's talk a little bit more about that, about having it right here. How did that all come together for you?
So it was just something that I really feel like it was nothing but a calling, a purpose, honestly. I remember in 53209, I believe it was, I wanted to start a food pantry. And it was only because like my neighbors was complaining and I used to see kids like literally hungry and things of that nature. And I was just like, we got to do something about this. So I reached out to an organization that, help with food and things of that nature. They was like, you have to have a commercial freezer and this. And I was like, I need all that. I want to give away the food. I don't want to store the food. I want to give it away. And that's just, I'm a person, I'm super duper driven. So I'm like, no, I don't want to store the food. I want to give away the food. So I was like, I don't know how I'm be able to do this, right? So when you see me on the back of the U-Haul truck, I don't know if it was that picture or not that we showed, but I was in the back of the U-Haul truck. That's where the food pantry started, on the back of the U-Haul truck. So I would go to
Sure
where
it did.
I would go to Pick and Save, and they would give us food that was basically labeled wrong. So it had a wrong expiration date, but they couldn't put it in the stores. So they're like, oh, we're gonna reach out to Missionary Currie and they're gonna be able to give it away. So that was perfect alignment where I didn't have to have restrictions on income and things of that nature in order for me to be able to give these families that's in need the help. And then another thing that also triggered me, I remember after coming out of homelessness, I was about to give my kids some shoes, right? And this lady, she had just had a house fire. She lost like two of her kids and she only had one baby left, but she lost everything. When I saw that, I was like, oh my God, like I want to help her because here I am about to spend like $300 on shoes when this lady don't have anything, right? So I made a Facebook post and I said, hey, somebody get me in contact with this lady. I really want to help. I got in contact with the lady. I got her diapers, wipes, a whole bunch of hygiene items. And it was a domino effect. A domino effect. When I made that post, literally other people started blessing this lady as well. And the lady had help. Like it wasn't just for me, it was other people in the community that was from her community that was able to help her. So I don't know. That's why I said I just really think it's passion. I think it's purpose, to be honest.
Well, that idea of, whether it be like a flame, that can catch other things on fire, or a virus in a good way, these things have a tendency to spread. Was that woman the first woman you helped ever? Was that the first person?
It was. Shout out to her. It was. And this was a long time ago. I was still probably a teenager. I think I was probably like 20.
So it's funny that you say that, because the work that I do in the community through Street Life Communities, our nonprofit, I still remember, that was 11 years ago. I still remember our first person. His name was Rodney, and I'm still connected to Rodney. And I remember it like it was yesterday. And, he said, what are you doing? And we're saying, well, we're here to help. And he's like, well, I'll help you. And lo and behold, that was the start of something wonderful. What was the woman's reaction that first woman, what was her reaction to your helping?
She just really was like, are you for real? Are you for real? I'm like, yeah, I'm for real. And I met her in a place where she could feel comfortable because I didn't have a building. I didn't have no secure place to actually meet her. So we met at East Capitol Walmart, and yeah, I gave her a hug. I embraced her. I gave her words of encouragement, and I didn't want nothing in return, literally nothing in return. I'm like, baby, you got this. Reach out to me if you need any more assistance. Even like like the people who was with her, I think she needed a ride possibly. And they was like, thank you so much. Like we've been trying to reach out to different organizations for this help, and you have been able to help us. So like I said, it was a domino effect. Like she probably didn't even have to reach out to Red Cross. It was so many people that came after us that was helping this lady.
And how long ago was that now?
11 years ago, because I'm old.
You know, and you started getting a little more rapid in your speech. You can still remember that, can't you?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What did that do for you?
So what it did for me, I think it actually sparked something in me that we may be fortunate enough to have certain things, but there's people that's living without. Like there's people that's struggling to make ends meet, and here we are fortunate enough to go buy shoes, clothes, and things of that nature. And people that's not able.
Yeah,
to.
a couple things I no longer say. I no longer say I'm starving, and I no longer say that I'm freezing when I'm outside and I don't have enough, because I know that that's an only temporary thing for me. But then that this will pass for me. But there are people, as you know, that living out of their car or living under a bridge or not sure where their next meal is going to come from, that they really are hungry in that space. So we have a saying in some of the work that I do that poverty isn't the absence of stuff, it's the absence of hope. So when you do this work, what does that do for people's hope?
Honestly, I want to actually give a story in regards to our community baby shower.
Please.
That right there, that gives moms hope. So with our community baby showers, we typically like set up everything from the food to the decorations and everything to make it feel like a personal community baby shower. See, the other community baby showers, no shade or anything to them, but we actually have it like we have the baby shower games, we have resources for credit repair, housing resources, all these different resources to where somebody come in and speak and give them these tools for them to be able to navigate, right? But to give them hope, I give my story. I tell them I was a homeless teen mom. I tell them I wish that I had these services that's available to them now. And then also I give them the mic. I give them the mic. And I remember we had a mom that just dealt with domestic violence. And she was saying like how we came to her house on Easter. I had no idea what she was going through in regards to with the father. But I remember the father had I remember he wound up dying and whatnot. I didn't know that he was an abuser, but I just knew he wound up dying. And she shared this on the mic, like, yeah, Missionary Currie, they came with an Easter bunny outfits on with Easter baskets and things of that nature. And that gave her hope in regards to connecting with another woman who's dealt with struggles, dealt with abuse before, and being able to relate. And those people come back. So like majority of our volunteers are people who we've helped. So that's hope.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that, about the idea of, we call that the subject and the object. And sometimes when the object of our missions, then they become the subject, it changes the paradigm. What does it mean when somebody who you've helped suddenly says, hey, I want to help in return? What's that mean to them and to you and to the organization?
I love the fact that I'm very welcoming, and my staff, we are very welcoming to people that do reach out and do want to help. So we do have this thing with the community baby showers where you cannot bring an extra person. We want it to just be the moms. We want the moms to be intimate, right? So if they bring an extra person, we even have those people come in and help. Like, okay, since you want to bring another person, we're going to put them to work and whatnot. But it's been so heartfelt to see people come in and see it from a different lens in regards to, I remember being on the other side of this room of getting a resource, and now I'm helping give out these gifts and giving out these services. So it's been amazing. It's been amazing to watch because, like I said, I was someone as a kid receiving free toys from organizations and things of that nature, and now I'm on the other side of handing out over thousands of toys to families that's in need. So yeah.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about some of the nuts and bolts. Describe for some of this, for those who are on the call today, what types of programs do you offer through Missionary Currie?
Okay, it's a lot. I may forget some, but okay. So we have a food program. People can come and get emergency food from us, free of charge, and we also, depends if it's emergency, we can also deliver. Then we also provide a summer program for kids. It's basically a Bible camp. And then we have like seminars, trainings, and workshops for development. So it could be parenting, it could be financial in regards to like credit repair, housing, because I'm also a realtor. So I'm able to help with that in regards to like grants and stuff like that. And then also emergency housing from 24 to 72 hours. We provide emergency housing with our hotel vouchers or even at our facility. Oh my God, I feel like I'm forgetting something, but it's a lot of stuff that we do. We offer a lot of different things.
Yeah, and not surprising. So, you're a realtor. I thought you drive a forklift truck. Any other skills that you want to share?
Is there any other skills I want to share?
Yeah. Do you sing, dance, play the piano?
No, I'm a community health worker.
Yeah, you are.
Nonprofit management. So I offer consultants to people that starting out their business and things of that nature. Because I wouldn't consider myself a whole expert because I still receive help from friends that's higher than me. But yeah, so I feel like that's about it.
I'm teasing you, and it's like we're having a conversation here, but I think that there's a lesson in that. I think that you would agree with me, and I'd love to expound on this. The idea that we can, if we could, if you only want to do one thing, it's okay. But we know the needs are multiple, especially when you're talking about individuals living in poverty, right? It's not only the diapers, but it's the formula, it's the shoes, it's the reliable transportation, and sometimes it's getting away from their abusers, right? So you got to be willing to be flexible in the work that you do. Is that right?
It's actually deeper than that, to be honest. So when you
Please.
think about the community baby showers, you have to think about it on a level of long term, not short term. So this is going to grab your attention in regards to I'm going to be able to get these diapers and these wipes, but long term it'll be the resources. So credit repair, the financial literacy portion of things, and housing stability and things of that nature. So that's the long term goal. Going back to school, getting your high school diploma, getting your, CBRF certifications and things of that nature. So it's long-term things that can put you in position to be able to help people to obtain these same things that you was in need of.
I love that. I love that. And I thank you for correcting me on or adding to the and to that. Give me a story about a long-term success. You talked about the woman who lost everything to a fire, and I'll tell you that we've met with people when their time runs out at a local emergency shelter, say the Red Cross, and no shade to Red Cross, but sometimes it's like there's no place to put folks and their time runs out and they end up living under a bridge, right? And so the idea that when people lose something short term that we've got to do something immediate, but talk us through a story about long-term success that you've achieved.
Yeah, absolutely. So I believe the long-term success is actually on this line. I don't know if she's on here or not and whatnot, but I did invite her. So she was one of my mothers that came in. She was in need of help and assistance and things of that nature. She went back to school. She had her high school diploma. She just became a homeowner. Shout out to her. She got a home, her and her family. And we just basically created a care plan. All this came and stemmed from us creating her a care plan and meeting with each other every week, every month, just texting, throughout the day, like, hey, what you doing, what you working on, because that's what I needed. And I was able to give her that. So long-term success, that's success. The fact that you able to give generational wealth and knowledge to your family, home ownership, everybody can't say that they're homeowners. So this mom right here, I believe she's on the chat, but yeah, so that's long-term success for sure. She volunteer for us. She volunteered for us. So she be at the community baby showers and everything.
I told you this is like a flame that spreads, and you are certainly a flame and a force that spreads. I love that success story about someone who basically, doesn't have an education, goes back, gets an education, builds some confidence through this care plan, ends up being a homeowner. And as you said, this idea of generational wealth, which we need in Black and Brown communities. We need Black and Brown communities to be able to say, this is what we're going to do for that next generation. How important is that?
It's really important. And one thing you can take away from that is the fact that if I can do it, you can do it too. And that's what I try to always push for our moms. Like, if you give me a little, and if you do a little, I will do the rest. But as long as you trying, I'm willing to put in that effort to go above and beyond for you. Another situation too, we had a mom that was staying with her mom, and she was a teen mom, so she was really young. But once she finally turned 18 and whatnot, we came in, we provided her with employment. So this is how, like, the world worked. This is just how the world worked, right? So the daycare owner, I knew the daycare owner because she actually helped me when I went back to school to get my high school diploma. She gave her employment and then also transportation. So the daycare van helped her to get to work. So it just was like, that's a blessing to be able to have those connections and those resources and those relationships to where people like, I trust you, Jessica. So I'm willing to give her a job. I'm willing to give her a chance because somebody gave me a chance.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. You know, talk to me. You said some really important things that I'd like to drill down a little bit. Talk about relationship, the importance of relationship.
Yeah. So when I think about relationship, I think about trust. I have to know that I could trust you, because in certain settings in the community, we have to feel like, can I trust you with this information? Would you come back and hurt me? Is this for self? Like, what does that look like? So when I think about relationship, I really think about trust. And when you develop different relationships and partnerships and whatever, you can skyrocket. Like, your business could thrive, your relationship can thrive, and that's the thing about it. When you have relationships with different community partners and key stakeholders and things of that nature, it could turn something so small into something so big just off relationships. Look at the relationship I have with you. I literally contact you like, hey, I need you to host. And you like, I got you.
I got you.
Relationship.
And it allows us to go off script, which is like, okay, you know that we're not gonna do anything to harm anybody. But I think it goes back to this, and you know, being a community engaged researcher and being someone who has worked with community, but also recognize my position and my privilege, right, and the perceived power differential. The idea of building trust means that you have to be trustworthy, right? And I have found that you got to say, you got to know, I say this to students, you got to tell them when you're going to show up, you got to show up, and then you're going to say, do you want me to come back again, right? And then showing up again, regardless of what that's like. So I want to talk through, because you don't like to brag. You are a humble, kind individual, but you talked about 11 years.
Yeah.
Start with, you got person one. Tell
Yeah.
us about the growth that the organization has had over that 11 years to now. How many people are you influencing?
Oh, we have served thousands of families. We not only in Milwaukee, we in Waukesha, Racine, Kenosha. We in different counties, and we also, small announcement, for a small amount of people, but we also working on doing a community baby shower tour throughout Wisconsin. So just helping, create that environment for people to have this type of baby shower where they're not just giving away baby gifts, but they also giving away some type of long-term solutions and long-term resources to, help families. So it started out with that 11 years ago, I guess. you aging me right now. But it started with that, and then it got from me on the back of a U-Haul truck giving away Lunchables to the homeless. I'm parked out at the park giving homeless the unhoused. We can't call them homeless. I don't know if you know or not. But yeah, it started from that, and then also me having a hairstyling workshop at the youth center, and me just, man, you're gonna make me cry. It started just, wow, from me doing a community impact center, having a food pantry, and just providing so many different supportive services on a daily. So I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed. I'm grateful.
You know, it is, I'm in a reflective state personally, and I think sometimes that comes with experience in life, right? And it's okay. We don't want to stay there. But it's, you know, all of us as humans and as people that are flawed, right? Let's just face it, you know, we all have our flaws. It's okay to look back and to reflect on, as Corey is saying, uh, Jessica, you are a real life angel.
Oh, I love Corey.
And she loves you too.
Thanks.
I want to go here. You know, you said something early, and I think you're. I'm going to say in another dozen years we're going to get back together, and you are going to be ageless. I'm just going to say that, and we're going to look back after 23 years, and you're going to still look the same and be acting the same and still be the energetic. But you'll have evolved as we all evolved, and we need to evolve. But talk us through for those who are newer in life and might be kind of drifting a little bit, because I think everybody has this point of drifting, regardless. And if they don't, God bless them.
Yeah.
But talk about this idea of the goals you set for yourself. What came to you in that space, and how did you take that first step towards achieving those first goals?
Yeah. So on the goals list, like I said before, I had my high school diploma. I had get my driver's license on there. I had a multitude of different things on there, but I literally accomplished all 10 of the goals. And I was so excited. And they celebrated with me. Like they knew me there, even when I no longer like receive the services of the state and whatever. They celebrated with me. So that's something that I learned that actually do work, and I still use that to this day. But today I call them godly goals. Like I don't want to drift off to where I'm going ahead of God, if that makes sense.
Oh,
Like
yes.
if it's for you, He will bless it. If it's not, He will block it. If you allow Him to guide you, because when we get into certain things and certain areas that He didn't call us to, it will fail. But if He called you to it, He'll see you through it. So I think that's why I have longevity, because I haven't allowed the things of this world and the things of like people in my ear telling me what to do, what not to do, waver the way that I interact with people in the community. So yeah, the goals actually helped me, and I still do the goals today. It helped me 110%. So I execute them one by one. It's not an overnight process, so don't think it's an overnight process, but learn something, execute it, and then go to the next one.
Did you have any kind of life lessons along the way that you go, well, I guess that wasn't a path for me?
Mm. Oh, yeah. Okay, so my first little business was selling t-shirts.
Okay.
I used to sell t-shirts. Yeah, that wasn't the path for me at all. I don't think I'm a salesperson. I'm a salesperson with real estate because that's more intimate, but like with
Yeah.
t-shirts, that wasn't me. Like I'm not a good salesperson at all.
It's more of a transaction on a commodity.
Yeah, and I'm just not. I just have such a good heart to where I'm like, here, you can just have it. It's like, oh, it only got $5. Like, oh, well, you can just have it. Like, so I'm not good with that. I can't stand on business long enough to even get the profit. So
One of the Moore said, Terrence or Cheryl Moore said, I remember the T-shirts with the emoji with smiling and tears. So,
yeah.
well, what did you learn from that about yourself?
Um. Okay, so you know the story about Oprah, how she started the talk show?
No, I
Because
don't.
taking those stories too personal. That's the same way how I was with business. So it was too personal. Like, oh, if I had it, I would support, but I don't have it. So it's like, oh, just give it to him anyway.
Just give it to him anyway.
Just give it to him anyway. So that's the lesson I've learned. Like, this is not the arena for me. That it takes a person who don't care about nothing but they money to have a business like this. So that's what I learned. Like that wasn't
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah, you don't strike me as someone who's driven by money, so that I think that's good to learn about because you like to give it away anyway, right?
Don't say that in front of my husband because he thinks the same thing. But yeah, I always say I'm not money driven, I'm mission driven. So the mission comes first.
So what are some of the things on the horizon for you? What are some of the things that, you started as a child? Let's just, I'm going to call it that. When you're 19 and you're with a baby and you are unhoused, you are still a child, but you're having to do responsible things to care for your child. What is on the horizon for you in the space you have left in life?
Um, honestly would say to leave a footprint here,
Okay.
to, for people to remember that I was here, and not just for a moment, but for a memory, if that makes sense. Like when people think of food pantry, they'll think of Missionary Currie. I remember that organization used to be, whatever. So legacy, impact, like long term, I want to just continue to establish great relationships, great programming that could help people throughout the world, not just throughout Wisconsin. So that's what it looked like.
Yeah, there's something to a consistency about showing up, as we talked about, and after 11 years, you certainly have been showing up. At this point, I would welcome any questions or comments that people may have that we can have, or if someone wants to talk about the T-shirt issue, we can go there. No, we won't go there. But while we're waiting for people in the chat, Jessica, one of the things, in 11 years of doing this, I think that we have these cycles of um, great need, and we have cycles of great supply. During the pandemic, we had a great deal of supplies. The federal government did their things to be able to help people out. I think we're seeing a movement now. What are you seeing that's out in the community that what are the things that concern you right now?
Okay. So one thing about me, I'm very transparent. I'm very honest.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this is the platform to be super vocally honest,
Yeah.
but I see a trend of people starting things that they really not passionate about. There's a trend in assisting with things that once again they're not passionate about. So you see businesses starting that really don't seek to serve people. So my grandmother, she was actually killed in a nursing home. So for example, even with that, like you have people that work at nursing homes and work at daycares and don't like kids. So you asked the question. So I see that as a trend now. Like people do things more so for the money versus for actually mission or to actually help people.
I'm so sorry to hear about your grandmother and that, because she was such an influence on your life. So we can keep the legacy alive of what she meant to you.
Yeah.
But how about with the community that you're serving? What are you seeing around this idea of the needs and the idea of where we might support community at a very deep level?
So the need for housing is like, whew, I just really pray that things get better. It seems as if like it's not really being addressed like that at all. Like you don't really see it at the city hall meetings, you don't see it on the news, but you can see it when you go out your house that people are struggling with mental health issues. You see it when you go out the house that people are dealing with addiction. You see it when you go out the door that people are literally homeless, and kids are panhandling at the gas stations now. So if you open your eyes up, you actually see it. So that's what I see. Every day I go out my door, I see it.
What does that say to you then about where Missionary Currie may either move towards or lean into about these issues?
I believe that Missionary Currie will lean more into the youth. That's something that I'm really passionate about because I was an out of control teen myself, and I feel like there's so many people that's giving up on the youth because it is a lot going on. But I feel like there is hope at the end because somebody gave me a chance. So look at where I am today, like literally trying to impact lives and really change lives and make a difference. And we never know who the next Jessica Currie may be in that crowd of young people. So we just gotta move towards helping the young people while we still can.
Yeah, the cultural moment that we're in says that we should be isolated and that we should turn inward to our phones and to our technology, because that's where hope lies. But you're really talking about the idea of building relationships with
Yeah.
young individuals. Isn't that what you're saying?
Correct. Yes.
So how do you think that would be, how would that, what would that look like in our community like Milwaukee?
Yeah. So basically, getting inside the school systems and navigating resources for the kids to be able to give to the parents. because a lot of times, like, there's parents that's probably on drugs, probably dealing with health issues or whatever the case may be. So they struggling and the kids are at home trying to fend for themselves. So giving children access to the resources to be able to give to the parents, that will work. I believe it will work. And just really connecting the community organizations with the schools.
Do you have an example of how that has worked for you in the work that you're doing with the schools, with kids, with families?
Yeah. So basically going out, speaking to the youth in regards to disease, disease, and just telling them my story in regards to growing up in poverty and thinking I had to hang with certain people in order for me to fit in, and that I didn't think that education would come back to haunt me, and I didn't think that it was important. And it impacts your whole family. When you make choices that impact your whole entire family, not just you. So that's one thing that I also tell them. So one of the slides that we did, that was me talking to a group of youth at a summer program. And when I tell you it was girls that was dealing with mental health issues, they was asking, is there a support group? They want help. But if we turn a blind eye, it's like they're never going to get the help if they feel like they are ignored. So I know for a fact and I know firsthand that these children really do want help.
Wow. And I want to go back here because you mentioned that you kind of had you turned the things around for yourself. But what happened for you that you went from this person who was less than that you were going down this path of challenges to where you're now doing what you're doing in this pace? What turned it around for you?
So like I said before, my husband and then also my circumstance, like me helping the lady the way I was able to help her, and me realizing it's not just about me and somebody else is in need and they need help. So why not be that help? Um, I was living too fast. I feel like I really didn't care about nothing. I was like really quick to fight. It was so many issues that was not being addressed. I may have needed therapy. It was a lot of different trauma that I dealt with, and I think me addressing that, even with my spiritual walk and me getting to know God and me getting to know myself, I believe that's what transferred my life and got me to this point.
Yeah, you really certainly dealing with a lot of trauma as a child and as a young woman, and you got the support that you need. And so many individuals just don't get that opportunity, and they either end up, you know, with addictions and or in prison and or a shortened lifespan. And so we have certainly had that. You know, what do you think it might mean? You mentioned mental health, but what do you think it might mean if we had a greater number of accessibility to mental health services?
Um, I think honestly, we need more people to actually talk about it and make it more comfortable and normal to talk about. When we hear about ADHD or we hear about autism and things of that nature, it's always a label on something versus actually getting the help and getting the resources and understanding what this means. And I feel like if we allow the young people to speak out, hey, I'm depressed, hey, whatever they're going through, and making it a comfortable space, I feel like we can really help a lot of young people with the suicidal rates. We can help them in regards to addiction. We can help them even with them entertaining men because they're seeking that validation from boys. So yeah, it's just so many different ways.
Well, I think that you make it real because people can look at you and go, no, you didn't struggle with any of that. But when you are in the space of vulnerability and you can say, well, here's my story, and then people can relate to you.
Absolutely, I totally agree. Mhm.
So Jessica, if folks were running a little bit, we're bumping up against the hour, which is kind of amazing. But if people want to get engaged with the work that you're doing through Missionary Currie, what how do they do that?
We'll first send you to our website. Our website will lead you to a form, and our community coordinator will reach out to you. We love new volunteers. You get an awesome t-shirt to join the team, and then also you will be so blessed. Like it feel like a family, and yeah, the work is really needed.
And the t-shirt is free because there's no charge on that, right, Jessica?
The t-shirt is free. So yeah. And then also you can just email us at missionarycurrieinc@gmail.com or missionarycurrie.org.
All right, let's do a couple of rapid things. You know, when you're not doing you're driving a forklift or caring for your family, what do you like to do?
What do I like to do? Go to the movies.
Go to the movies, and I can tell that you're like, I don't do much outside of the work and care for my family, so that's okay. Favorite kind of food?
Pizza.
Pizza. And favorite time of the day?
Night. I love sleep.
You love sleep, and I like this. Terrence says, as a former teacher of her, I like her discipline, focus, tenacity, perseverance, and keeping God the center of all she does, leading by example. What does discipline mean to you?
Discipline is basically it is everything in my life because it's priority basically in so many words. And just knowing, like, I'm teaching my children like structure and knowing to put others before yourself. So that's what discipline looked like to me. Like I could be careless with the funds that I receive, but no, discipline. I know I have to execute. I know I have to get this done. If I said I was going to get it done, and that's what it looked like to me.
Right on. Stephanie Patterson's asked, are you connected with community healthcare divisions, departments with larger healthcare companies outside of the medical college? Are you connected with any large healthcare institutions?
I am, but not that one in particular. No.
Okay. All right. And so if people want to get connected to you for outside, if companies want to get connected to you, they use the same Missionary Currie website.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
So I just want to say, and Jessica will put up the last slides because I know that you have more things to get to and I have another meeting to get to. You know, I just want to say, and a couple of comments came down. I am one, grateful for you today, Jessica, for joining us and demonstrating your vulnerability, but also demonstrating your tenacity. And you know, what gives you hope in the world that you move through and that you live in?
What gives me hope is my own story. Like me looking back on my life and just remembering where I come from and knowing that this young girl who grew up in poverty, grew up without a mother, without a father, and dropped out of school and, been around addiction and sexual abuse and things of that nature, looking back on that young girl and seeing where I am today, that's what gives me hope.
Right on. Jessica, would you put up leave the scan to donate one more time up for people to see that? And let me say this as a final note. I haven't said it in the last 50 minutes. Jessica Currie, Missionary Currie, you are an amazing human being. You are a talent. You are God blessed, and you are certainly tenacious and wonderful. And I just want to thank you for this conversation today. Just to say that I just think the world of you and know that I have your back and I am in your corner whenever you need me, whenever you need us, and we're here for you.
I appreciate you so much. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. Like I was just so nervous, but I was like, you telling your story, like it don't matter. Like if you don't have the words to articulate what you mean, hopefully somebody got something from this. Thank you so much, Dr. Nelson, for just being a great friend. Like you are a great friend. Thank you so much for always being there for me.
All right, Jessica, I love you, and I'll see you soon. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks everybody for joining today.
Thanks. Bye.